Hello guys, welcome to the channel again. I wanted to present you a video that I watched this morning to show you a bit about and to learn about the diversity of Eritrea and its several cultures that make up this country and the several historical linkages that influenced basically the populations and cultures of this country. So what I watched this morning was a video done by the Eritrean Studies Association based in Washington, D.C. that also publishes under the Red Sea Press some publications, and especially a video that I by chance encountered by Mr. Ismail Mukhtar, and it's called The Milestones in the History of Islam in Eritrea. And I thought it's a very interesting video that is around 2 hours long. I only watched 30 minutes of it so far, so I will watch it when I'm in the evening having more time. But I wanted to give you a recommendation basically about this channel and also these videos. If you're interested in the history of Islam in general, let's say, but also of course pertaining to Eritrea and the wider Horn of Africa region, or even like Yemen and Egypt, but mainly of course Horn of Africa, which is a bit under-researched topic, I feel sometimes, or like at least in the general public awareness, even of those people that live inside of it, or like the diaspora community like me. And I found it just super interesting how this, how Mr. Mukhtar connects basically the history of Eritrea from an Islamic perspective to the wider regional history, meaning wider regional history, mainly Yemen, and also Egypt and Sudan, of course, and Ethiopia. So let's dive a bit in. I just want to give you a general overview about what Mr. Mukhtar tells in his book that he presents there. A bit about the author. Mr. Mukhtar is born in Asmara, Eritrea, but he grew up, or like he moved to Canada, and first of all wrote a book about the Muslim community inside of the region Canada where he grew up, and then later decided also to research about his, let's say, home country before becoming Canadian, which is Eritrea. And I thought he does it from a very nice perspective and comprehensive way that I didn't hear before, so it was very interesting for me. So I present you the first 30 minutes of this 2-hour-long video. I will just give you an overview of the topics, and I invite you to follow the channel, which I link under this video, as well as mine, of course, but I really suggest you see also this association's other videos, which shed more light into the histories and cultures in Eritrea. But coming back to Mr. Mukhtar, he divides, I think, in 4 chapters his book. The first one is about the arrival of Muslims to Eritrea. The second one, I just took some quick notes about it, so look at it. The second one is what happened after the death of the emperor at that time that welcomed and received those first Muslims in Eritrea. The third is about the basically Egyptian influence, which happened before that time, which means like the Islamization of Egypt, and thereby trickling down, or like the spread of Muslims from Egypt to Sudan and via Sudan to Eritrea also. And the third is about the inner Ethiopian wars, I would say. I mean, it's not the same countries, of course, but with the rise of sultanates inside of Ethiopia, or what is now Ethiopia, from Adal, which is, and other sultanates basically, of this famous figure in Ethiopian history called Ahmed Grang. And I think the fourth part, where I didn't continue as for now, is about the challenges these Muslim communities faced later on. And then I don't know, there may be some more chapters, but I got these 4 now. So let me give you a brief introduction to this talk there, and if you find it interesting, yes, as said, I would invite you to continue listening on his channel, which goes really in depth. So first of all, the arrival of Muslims, as most of you know, is like dated 5 years after the fleeing of the companions of Muhammad from Mecca. And the exact location where they went to is a bit disputed, but Mr. Mukhtar advances the theory that they were received by the king of Abyssinia at that time, which is undisputed even among Muslims, I think. But the location where they arrived, according to him, there are like 4 different theories, but the main one, the one that makes more sense, at least for him, is that they arrived in Sahaba Mosque, or where the Sahaba Mosque is located now in in Massawa in Eritrea. The second question he further investigates is what kind of impact did they leave? Were they just there for like 15 years and left, or went back? Or what was the impact? Did they intermarry? Did they leave people? And one of the theories is also that they created, I think, the Jabarti people that are now there, which means like Tigrinya speaking people that are Muslims, and other theories. Like, I invite you to look into it if you would like. Then the next is whom did they meet? Did they actually meet the king of Abyssinia, the king of kings at that time, the Najashi, or did they meet the local governor? Next is what was the long-running impact, basically, of those first companions on the society of Eritrea, like a bit related to the first thing they explored, if they just went there 15 years and came back, or if they actually left a lasting impact. And then the question that is also very important, which is addressed afterwards, is what happened after the death of this welcoming king? Because apparently there were a lot of wars of let's say Ethiopians or Abyssinians at that time attacking the Arabian coast, but he relates it mainly to pirates that attacked this coast and not like a official government-related campaign to attack these regions, so that there were still friendly regions after the death of the Najashi. But there's many theories, and he touches on some of them. So also a very interesting topic. And then another period he talks about is when the Umayyad Caliphate was established, basically well, not the Umayyad Caliphate, but Dahlak Island were under the Umayyad Caliphate. And Dahlak became like a power center, and there was like the Dahlak Sultanate that existed at that time. Very interesting period also that I didn't know about. Dahlak, of course, is in Eritrea now still. These islands that are very impoverished, but apparently were like some kind of power center in ancient times, and represent, according to Mr. Mukhtar, the first permanent station of Islam in East Africa. I know that Dahlak is like a nice area for tourism, and they have like their own language, even developing closely related to other Semitic languages in the region, developed there, which was recently discovered, even though this language, but very interesting that they were actually a power center. I think he mentioned that it declined when the Portuguese came in that region and decimated basically this power center that was there. But anyhow, and then the next influence, which is used that he talks about, were the Abbasid kingdom, and a kingdom, or I don't know how to call it, like the Abbasid rule that went to Egypt, which is also related to the Christianity, because as some of you may know, and that the patriarchs that were at the Orthodox Church were always those sent out from Alexandria before, and of course the church also split at one point, but this is not the story of the church. But the Muslim influence made also further Muslim migration or Arab migration from Arabs that came to Egypt, to Sudan, and then trickling via the Beja people in Sudan towards Eritrea and Ethiopia. So that's another driver of migration. So he explains a bit the east side expansion or establishment of Islam in Eritrea, like on the east coast of Eritrea, and then also another big driver on the north and west, like via Egypt mainly. So very interesting how basically the cultures and influences are related. What is also an important point that I want to emphasize is that he sees Eritrea as always a very immigrant nation and welcoming nations. Even like he mentioned the example of the Rashaida who came via Yemen and I think Saudi Arabia in the 19th century to Eritrea, and are an officially recognized ethnic group also. So I think it's a nice view of the country, of it being open and like a safe harbor for many persecuted people. And basically a multicultural society, which it is up to now, of course, the multicultural society. And otherwise, whatnot, very interesting topics, honestly, that you can see there. The next he talks about, I think, is basically the Portuguese and the conflicts of the sultanates that were rising also powerfully more in the south of Eritrea, like to the south of Eritrea, let's say, to the south, like in what is currently Ethiopia, which resulted in a lot of wars basically inside of Ethiopia and Eritrea of Muslim sultanates that expanded and that are famous in Eritrean and Ethiopian history, basically through the rise of Ahmed Grany, who conquered almost all of Ethiopia and all of Eritrea for a shorter time than he was present in Ethiopia, though, but he conquered it all apparently. And established, of course, further Muslim centers, and was, I think, kicked out by the Portuguese. He mentioned, like by the Ethiopian emperors with help of the Portuguese at a later point. So just to give you a really brief introduction about some of our history, which is super interesting, I feel, and I will read more and listen more on it. I think a good starting point is also the YouTube videos of the Eritrean Studies Association in Washington, D.C. And I just wanted to specifically recommend this video to you, and will also further watch it afterwards. So enjoy the summer wherever you are, and if it's summer at your place also, of course. And yeah, stay open, stay learning, stay challenging perceptions, beliefs, etc. And I hope you're doing very fine. Goodbye.